Hello everyone who's watching this video. My name is Tigran and welcome to Code Review. This time we are going to review my code which is a game which you all may know, Tic-Tac-Toe. So let me first show what it is in general. So what do we have here? We just have a board on which we will play Tic-Tac-Toe and a restart button. So let's play. Yay! I won! And if I tap restart or click on restart, everything will begin again. And I will win again, because I am the best. So, without any... So let's go over the code and understand how I did it, how I did all of this. First of all, this is my HTML file. I always have two separate files for HTML and JavaScript because in this way it is easier to understand everything. So here I have BG color is black, which stands for background color, and my canvas has an ID canvas by which I give it some attributes with CSS. I give it absolute position so that I can do it make it in bottom and not in the left side of the screen. So that's all for HTML. Let's go to JavaScript, which is much more complicated. So what do we have first of all? We have canvas, constant canvas, which is get element by ID canvas, which is this canvas here, this ID canvas, and then we have context with which we will add images or anything to canvas. So here we have a random function which gives a random number. Here I have a let board about which I will talk later. On my variable end is for the last results, about which I will talk later again. So variable game over is false, so if the game is over it will of course turn into true. Variable x is 200 and y is 0. These variables are for drawing board, as well as this variable draw part. Var enemy turn, as it is as you see, it's for the turn of enemy. Os. Then we have mouse cooldown. So as you see, we can't click too many times. We have a cooldown for mouse clicking. Then I have X sound and O sound for the sounds that you hear when I click on the screen and when O appears. Then I have const restart, which is for restart button here. So let's get to functions. First of all, I have a function which draws this board here. So what does this function do? So first of all, as you see, variable draw part is 0. So as long as variable draw part is 0, this function calls draw board with x and y, draw board draw. So this is draw board draw. X and y are, as you see here, x is 200 and y is 0. So this function is called with 200 and 0. So context begin path. This means that the page will start drawing lines. So on point 200 and 0, it will move to 200 and 0, which is this point here. Then it will line to x and y plus 20, so x will not change while y will become plus 20, somewhere about here. Then context stroke will actually draw the line. And this is all about draw board draw. So after calling this function, my y increases by 20 so that it can draw the rest. And if my y reaches 600 and x is 200, so x is 200 and y is 600, this point, as soon as the page draws this first line, y will become 600, y will become 0 and x will become 400, so x will become 400, y is 0, that's this point. So we will have the same function draw board draw for this line. So as you see, when y becomes 600 and x becomes 400, so that's this point, x will become 200, x will become 0 and y will become 200, as you see here, and draw part will become 1. So when draw part becomes 1, I will start calling another function, draw board column, which is this function here. So this is the same as this, except one thing. This function doesn't change x, only changes y, while this function changes y and keeps y unchanged. So x will become plus 20 and y will not change. So it will draw this line. Then when the line reaches this point, x will become 0 again and y will become 400. So we will have the same thing for this. So beautiful, isn't it? So why does the function repeat drawing? That's because of this part, request animation frame. So as long as draw part is 0 or 1, the program will read this code here, request animation here, request animation frame, and it will call board draw loop, which is this same function. So it will call it again. This function will increase y by 20 if it is still drawing rows, and I'm sorry, I forgot this. This should be column. This should be row. I just confused the names. Okay, never mind. So if it will then, when it finishes drawing columns, it will start drawing rows. And when it finishes drawing rows, draw part will become 2, which means that it finishes drawing. And this part, draw part is equal to 2, will be used a lot in my code, in my program here. Then it will draw image restart, which is this little button, not little actually, with coordinates 600 and 200, with width 200 and height 200. Okay, after drawing, I have a function draw move, which will draw moves. Then I have draw chord, which will give the drawing coordinates to draw move. Then I have next move, make move. So I will talk about this now, when I reach this part. So how does everything begin? All of these functions are not called by default. They are only called when I click on the screen. The only function that works without my clicking is this one, the restart game. Restart game is called when I click on this or when I restart the page. So when it is called, it will clear the screen, turn draw part to 0, x and y to 200 and 0 respectively, and it will change stroke style to white because somewhere here I change it to red here, and it will call board draw loop, which is the function that I explained. This function which draws rows and columns. And just never mind, I just confused column with row. So because row was drawing columns and column was drawing rows. So then after drawing, it will set game over back to false so that the game restarts again. It will change board to this thing, this or double array, which is which has 9 spots and all of them are empty, because as you see here we have 9 spots and all of them are empty. And then it will call the function who starts with input random 2. So it will have either input 1 or 2. So here is this function who starts. Who goes first is my input, and if who goes first is equal to 2, which is by random, I will call enemy start function here, and it will wait while draw part is equal to 2, which means it has fully drawn the board, and it will call make move with board next move and false. So let's have a look. Let's look at make move. So this is a function which makes moves. It has inputs board on which it will draw, location which it will change to X or O, and is X, which stands for is it X or O. So here is X is true and here is X is false. And then it has I have two variables here. Const location 1 is the location here. The location here is an array, so it will take the first number of it, first item of that array, and my location 2 will take the second item of that array. And if is X is true, which means you are playing with X's, it will call it will check if board with location 1 and location 2 is empty. So if it is empty, it will draw an X on it and call draw chord with location 1, location 2 and true, and it will play a X sound. But if you tap on a spot which is not empty, so it already has an X or an O, it will alert invalid location, alert disqualified, and turn game over into true. So the game will stop. So let's see. It says invalid location and disqualified. So whatever I do here, I'm already lost because I'm a cheater. But if I tap restart, everything will begin again. And if I tap on X again, it will disqualify me again. So as you see, sometimes when the board is drawn, O appears, and sometimes it does not. So that's how the random works. See, it appeared here, and when I call it again, it appeared here. And now, see, I called the board, but O didn't appear because my input here, which was random 2, became 1, and this function was not called. This enemy start function was never called. So let's continue inspecting make move. So as I said, make move calls draw chord after turning the location that it's inputted into X. It calls the function draw chord. So let's look at draw chord. Its draw chord is this huge function. Of course I could make it much smaller, but I wrote it in the simplest way. So if location 1 is 0 and location 2 is 0, which means 0, 0 is this point, it will call draw move with 25, 25 and is x. So is x here, is x is true because you are playing with x's. So here this is draw move. If is x is true, it will begin pass with 25, 25 here, as written. X is 25 and y 25, so it will go to 25, 25, which is this point, 25, 25. It will go to x plus 150 and y plus 150, which is x plus 150 and y plus 150. It's just this point. And then it will stroke to actually draw your line. Then it will move to x plus 150 and y, so y is 25, so it will come to this point and draw this part. So it will draw an x. If is x is false, that means that you are drawing an O, so it will call this function. It will draw a circle with this function, with this code, with x coordinate, y coordinate, range, I mean radius, and then it will stroke, so it will draw it. So that's how it draws x and O. So here are all the cases. If location 1 is 0 and location 2 is 1, it will draw in another spot. If location 1 is 0 and location 2 is 2, it will draw in on another spot. So as you see, every case here has its specific inputs. So this is 25, 25, this is 25, 425, this is 225 and 225, and etc. So that's how my make move works. So after drawing an x or an O, it will call this function find winner. So this is my function find winner. It has 9 cases. I mean 10. Yes, 9 cases. The first case when 0, 0 is x, 0, 1 is x, and 0, 2 is x. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 is a row of x's. So if it is a row of x's, and winner is x, and winning locations. As you see, I'm changing this object end with key values winner and winning location. End dot winner, so key winner will become x, and key winning location will become this array of winning points, and then it will console log end the winning. So you will know who is the winner and winning. So let's see how this works. So now I will play, and I won with these locations. So let's look at my console. So these are my winning locations: 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2. So it shows my winning locations. And if I play again and win again, fuck you. Okay, here is my third winning streak, which shows my winning points. So that's how my find winner works. And also I have the same thing for O's. Of course you could write it in easier way without writing the same thing for X's and O's, but instead write if this is equal to this and this is not empty, which means board 02 is equal to board 11, and in turn this is equal to this one, and they both are not equal to empty string. So that will mean that they are equal. And if none of these cases are true, it will check if all the spots are not equal to empty. So if all the spots are taken, it will console log that no one won, and will turn game over into true. So the game will stop and no one will win. It will be a tie. And if none of these are true, it will just return undefined. So the winner is not defined yet. So let me show you what happens if it's a tie. Lol, I lost. Okay, let's just forget it. So if it's a tie, it will console log that no one won. That's it. Okay, so I think I explained almost everything. So let's get to interactive part, when I tap on a spot and it draws an X. So here I have 9 cases. If X is bigger than 0 and smaller than 200, that means it's bigger than this and smaller than this, so it's in this part. So it can be either this or this or this. So here I have 3 cases for Y. If Y is bigger than 0 and smaller than 200, or smaller than 400, or smaller than 600. So for each case I call make move with board, a specific array, and true, which means that it will draw an X. And for all of these cases I'm checking if mouse cooldown is false, and if game over is false, so the game is not over, because if you win, if I click on the board, it will not draw X, because game over will become true and this conditional will become false. So so this part will not be read. So after this it will turn mouse cooldown to true, which means that this conditional will become false, and again this will not be read, and it will call set timeout with CD. CD stands for cooldown, and this function here, this very small function, it will just turn mouse cooldown to false. So after 1000 milliseconds, which is about 1 second, it will turn mouse cooldown back to true, back to false, so you can tap again. Also after 1 second about, it will call enemy move. So this is enemy move. When it is called, it will check if game over is false and draw part is 2, which means that it has drawn the board, because you can't you can't draw an X or an O if the board is not fully drawn. It will call make move with board, and instead of the array I call here, I give it this input, next move, this function, and false, which means that we will draw an O. So let's look at my next move function. It's right here. This is next move. It takes the board as an input and is X. In this part, is X is always false, but in my another part of code, I have two different files and my second file is when computer plays against itself, so it will draw both X and O. So if so in this part is X is always false. So it will take one random number and it will be 0, 1 or 2, same about the second number, and if that random number is equal to empty space, it will return an array with those two numbers. So this means that if, for example, this random gives me 1 and this gives me 1, it will be this point 1 1, so it will return 1 1, an array. So this input will become 1 1, and it will call make move with 1 1. So location will be an array of two numbers where both of them are 1. So location 1 will be 1, location 2 will be 1, and it will draw and is x will be false, so it will draw an O on 1 1. But if this random number random location returns an already taken spot, it will return next move again and again and again until it finds an empty spot. So that's how everything works. Also, what about this restart button? If x is bigger than 600, so it's bigger than this, it's about here, and y is bigger than 200 and smaller than 400, so it's this square, and draw part is equal to 2, which means that the board is already drawn. It will call the function restart game, which as I already explained is this one. So it will clear the whole board and draw it again with the same coordinates, so and it will turn game over to false so that you can play again. It will turn board to an empty array so that all of the spots are empty again, and again it will call who start. So if it is 2, the O will start, otherwise X will start. I think everything is clear here, and that's how my Tic-Tac-Toe game works. But I have one more. Part of code here. Let's look at it. This one is called Tic-Tac-Toe loop because it is on the first glance it is totally the same, except a few things. This has a variable called call next move. I will talk about this in a bit. So all of this part is the same. The same draw board, same draw chord, same next move, same make move, and everything is same except this one. I have here a function change call next move, which will change call next move to true. If you are confused, I will try to explain this part. This is a loop which will which is some kind of a recursion. It will call request animation frame, and it will call itself again and again and again while game over is false. So if the game is not over, this loop will keep going. So if call next move is true, it will make move with board next move and is x. So I think you already know what make move is, and it will change is x to not is x. Here is who starts. So this function is changed totally. When restart game is called, it will again call who starts with random number 1 or 2. If the number is 2, it will set is x to false, otherwise it will set is x to true. So this function is called before this loop. So we will already know what is x is. If who goes first is 2, is x will become false, and O's will start. So first it will call make move with O and a random location, and it will change O to x because false changed to true, true is x and false is O, so O will become x, and it will make call next move to change call next move to false. So this will not be called again, and it will call this small function reset. Reset is a function which is a timeout function. So every 300 milliseconds it will call change call next move. So this change call next move changes call next move back to true. So that's how it works. Every 300 milliseconds this function will be called, this part will be called, and a new x or a new O will appear. So let's look how it actually works. Let me open it. Now look. So that's how it works. There is no gamer participation. There is no participation of me, so I can't do anything except restarting it. I can just look how computer fights against itself, and it wins and loses at the same time. So as you see, X and O, sometimes X starts and sometimes O starts. It's random. And when someone wins, the loop stops and this location remains empty. So that's how it works. Also, I wrote a function for smart tic-tac-toe where you can never win, and I will explain that code in my next video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.